lost in the semifinals. Whoa.
What is even worse is the Premier Championship Wrestling does not have the common decency, the respect, and the talent in the ring to announce these gentlemen's opponents tonight. Locked and loaded should be at the top of the card every single time.
Every time, Joe.
While I know that Premier Championship Wrestling considers the young, up-and-coming talent, I know there's two, up-and-coming guys with a lot of fight, a lot of heart. They want to make a name for themselves here at Premier Championship Wrestling and turn it on. We'll send them out here, and locked and loaded, we'll send them right back where they came from.
Well, that's fair, Joe. That you can't get any fairer than that.
And their opponents.
Hadn't LeRusso learned from trying to insert himself in the Jackson Stone match? He almost got obliterated. Well, I guess his plan worked out, didn't it? I mean, LeRusso's been all over the place tonight. Mathis defeated Palace, didn't get the championship, but got a major victory. And now, locked and loaded in tag action. A couple of young kids looking to make a statement. Silas Morgan calls himself the man at war. Cisco Silver, a young rookie in professional wrestling who's got a mixed martial arts background as well. This guy is tough, but is this guy just outmatched? Is Silas outmatched? Looking into this matchup, BC, you always have young athletes show up here to Turner's Hall looking for an opportunity, looking for a chance to make a statement, looking for a way to get their name on the map. And I admire the guts of these kids who have accepted this matchup, but man, look at what they're in there against.
Well, I don't want to knock them. I'll give anybody credit that's willing to go in there with Ganon Jones Jr. and Duke Davis. You got to give them credit for their heart, but Silas Morgan and Cisco Silver. Don't get me wrong. I love the Thong Song back in 2000, but I think Cisco is really got his work cut out for him, as does Silas Morgan. You mentioned a lot of young guys that are trying to get in the door. I'm sure your phone's always blowing up. I know I've said yes to the name or two, but. That's a whole other story. They're giving up size, they're giving up power, and I'll say they're giving up experience to Locked and Loaded as well. You never want to count anybody out here in Premier, but Joe, they're just overmatched. And if I'd be willing to place a small wager if you'd like, but my money's on Locked and Loaded. I mean, what can Cisco Silver and Silas Morgan do?
Well, we're going to find out. That's why we have these matches.
See, now you're making me sound like an idiot.
Duke and Ganon. Duke and Ganon feel pretty confident, to say the least.
Well, as they should.
Do they need LeRusso out there?
Well, he's their motivation. I don't think that is that Cisco guy. Not the guy from the movie Snow Dogs.
You don't say.
Yeah, well.
Silas Morgan underneath the Duke, and Duke just shrugs him off.
That might be what Silas needs to do. Just start throwing haymakers. Start hitting him with whatever you can.
Oh! And Duke just overpowering. Duke's got to be, what, 6'6", 265 pounds or so?
Absolutely, and both him and Ganon Jones Jr. can fly like cruiserweights. Welterweights, if you will.
Let's see what Cisco Silver can do. Cisco Silver fits that welterweight bracket.
Well, Ganon and Duke clearly, as I mentioned earlier, the size and power advantage. And Ganon wants in.
Maybe Cisco could get an upset win over Locked and Loaded tonight, move on to welterweight tomorrow as an alternate, find his way on the event there, and win on pay-per-view.
Well, that could, I mean, if he can defeat...
Oh, my God.
Oh, well. Maybe. If he can defeat Ganon and Duke, I mean, that puts him on the map. Like I said, I'll give the kid credit. It's not easy to go in there against these two. There's a lot of guys that they see their name on paper against these two, they go home.
Well, Cisco's trying to hit and run, to stick and move here. Catch Ganon off guard. He's got to him, but Ganon scoops him up in midair. Down with a backbreaker. Good grief.
If there's one advantage that Silas and Cisco may have, it might be speed. For both Ganon and Duke, athletes, not only inside the world of professional wrestling, but athletes in other sports out of it. So you can't count their speed out as well. Well, this is just mocking, but it is pretty funny. Imagine Just imagine for a second that you bow up against Ganon Jones Jr. and Duke Davis. What can you possibly think is going to be the end of it?
Could you imagine getting in Ganon's face and insulting him? What might happen?
Absolutely not. You know, I always say, hello, Mr. Jones Jr., hello, Mr. Davis, how are you doing? I've invited them to
Oh my God, look how effortless this looks.
Well, as I say, I invited them to the Steel family cookouts. You know, he could dunk him. There's a hoop.
Ganon just handed Cisco off to Davis, who finished the job.
And all that, what that does, that rushes all that blood to your head. It leaves the extremities. Everything almost goes numb, and you start to get that head rush. So when you land...
And you got a great look a moment ago at the metahuman.
A metahuman means that he was created, gifted from the gods, if you will, with abilities and strengths and just physical tools that you and I certainly couldn't even understand. Nobody in Premier could understand, and that's what Duke Davis has. And you know, when Duke and Ganon are out there, it is the main event.
Full extension of the leg there. Imagine the size of Duke Davis's foot across the neck of Cisco Silver, who's reaching for a tag here to Silas, but just being absolutely overwhelmed.
Well, I'll tell you, if Duke's going to get his foot measured or go to a podiatrist for a foot examination, he's going to be there all day. I mean,
Ganon tag. Look at this. Oh, they called out the stomp.
Well, that's pretty direct. I don't think we need to explain what went on there. And if anybody had a question, they can look up Cisco Silver on the internet and see if he's still breathing. Oh!
And Ganon shot for Silas for no reason.
Oh, that's fun. He knocked him right off the apron. See, Joe, when you dominate, like, you know, Duke Ganon and myself do in athletics, you just got to push your weight around every now and then. You got to show him who's the boss.
Let's see. Just go for the ride. Oh, look at this. Look at the power of Pro Wrestling's All-Star. And I'll give credit as Duke now picking a fight with Silas.
Do you know any good dentists?
Keep in mind, the reason Duke and Ganon were eliminated from the tag title tournament, they weren't pinned. It was a countout. Duke never left his feet the whole matchup. Who can stop these men? Good grief, it's not going to be Cisco Silver. That's going to do it.
When you're up in the air, you'd have to think that he's about a good 6.5, 7 feet in the air, and then brought down by the power, not only of Duke, but Ganon as well. I can't imagine that any plans that Cisco Silver and Silas Moore have had for post-show are going to continue.
Well, I'd have to agree with you there. They were brave. They fought with everything they had.
Well, bravery gets you hurt, Joe.
Ganon Jones Jr. and Duke Davis, very dominant here in Premier Championship Wrestling.
Oh, wait, Joe, wait.
Don't tell me again.
Yes!
These kids are hurt.
Well, Joe, it's their First Amendment rights.
LeRusso.
Well, Joe,
I'll be back.
Oh. I'm going to have to agree with Ganon, Duke, and LeRusso on this one. I mean, Joe Dabrowski just screwing people left and right. As we see the protest, this can go on for a while. LeRusso looks very uncomfortable. This may be a protest in protest by Chris. Oh, and there's Joe. Maybe Joe's going to take a knee, too. There's nothing better than seeing citizens exercise their First Amendment right. Let's send it to Joe.
All right. You know what? I'm protesting your protest. You can't do that.
What? I didn't expect that at all.
Now let's get up and handle this like men, like athletes. All right. You want opportunity. Yes. You want main events. Yes. You guys want quality opponents. Yes. Oh my God, he gets it. I understand now. And it's my mistake that maybe you were put out here with competition that maybe you haven't earned the right to be in the ring with. You don't deserve to be in the ring with. You deserve better. You deserve greater. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you that opportunity on Saturday, November 18th. Okay. We'll be back in this building for a Premier Championship Wrestling event. And let's have ourselves a 6-man tag match. You guys like that? I'll give you all the credit in the world, Duke Davis. You haven't been knocked on your back since you've been here. You've been indestructible, you've been impenetrable, you've been dominant. That's my dude! We'll see how dominant you are when one member of the opposing team is the premier champion, Andrew Palace. Ganon Jr., you got your playbook, you got your answers to everything. You didn't have an answer earlier tonight when somebody came out here to confront you with a steel chair. So how are you going to feel when after what we saw a minute ago, I put the suplex Shogun Jackson Stone in the 6-man tag team match? Never had that damn chair. And I need one more guy. I need one more opponent that maybe has an interest in you, Christopher. You, Mr. LeRusso, because I got a guy that called me who really wants to get reacquainted with you because you threw a bundle of light tubes at his skull. And he really wants to get a hold of you and talk that one out like gentlemen. So the third member of that team, November 18th, will be Ricky Shane Hayes. November 18th, we got us a party.
Well, you heard it. Our next event, we're going to have locked and loaded Duke Davis, Ganon Jones Jr., and Chris LeRusso taking on Premier Champion Andrew Palace, Jackson Stone, and unfortunately for Chris LeRusso, Ricky Shane Page.
Oh, God.